In Greenland 2, what will the theme be? Migration, directed by Rick Roman, is the follow-up of the 2020 catastrophe film starring Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin. An extinction-level event is approaching, but the Garrity family is still making their way to safety. Greenland's surprising success led to the approval of a sequel, Greenland Migration, which has a confirmed cast and plot. In the movie, skyscraper engineer John Garrity rushes against time to get to safety before an extinction-level comet fragment hits the Earth with his son, Nathan, and his estranged wife, Allison. During the pandemic, Greenland was among the first films to skip a domestic theatrical release in favor of video on demand, and it was a huge hit when rented at home. It became an international picture office blockbuster, collecting $52 million. Thanks to its cathartic focus on an emotional calamity, according to Picture Office Mojo, because it took a deliberate approach to disaster cinema and concentrated more on the human side of an extinction event. The movie also garnered positive ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. A catastrophe movie seldom gets a follow-up, and when it does, it usually shows the unlikely recurrence of the same catastrophic event that was presented in the first movie. Greenland Migration has the potential to defy this pattern by keeping the emphasis on how people are reacting to the crisis. Despite appearing to have stuck to 2023, Greenland Migration has finally established a start date for filming, according to most recent update. The eagerly anticipated disaster sequel is scheduled to start actual production in April 2024, which will be about 4 years after the movie's release. The movie's plot has not been further detailed, and no release date has been announced. It has now been formally revealed that co-stars Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin will return to their roles in addition to the production update. Although Butler and Baccarin were reportedly signed up for the sequel, there have been no updates on the two A-list actors since 2021. As filming on Greenland Migration begins, further casting announcements are anticipated. A sequel to Greenland was announced soon after its popularity, and production company STX quickly purchased the distribution rights. The firm showed a great deal of faith in the film's anticipated success by distributing Greenland and shelling out an incredible $75 million for its sequel at the Cannes virtual market. Due to the Najafi company's imminent takeover of STX, the future of its planned projects remains unknown. However, STX has taken steps to ensure the stability of Greenland Migration by establishing a subsidiary business to safeguard the film's intellectual property. Since it was first announced in 2021, there have been few details revealed about the eagerly anticipated disaster sequel. However, it is now confirmed that film will start in April 2024. This appears to indicate that Greenland Migration will release somewhere in 2025, which is fantastic news for a film that has been bogged down in delays for almost 5 years. For Greenland Migration, Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin, who played John and Allison Garrity respectively, will reprise their roles. Although their son Nathan will undoubtedly return in the follow-up, it is unclear that Roger Dale Floyd will take on the role of Nathan once more. Greenland Migration is set to take place between 5 and 7 years after the first movie, and Floyd may appear old enough due to the period between releases. Because of the time shift and new location, it is quite doubtful that many of the supporting actors would make a comeback. Greenland Migration, as the title implies, follows the Garrity family and other survivors as they journey across Europe in search of a new home. With many voices joining on the radio, Greenland finishes a chorus of hope that many had survived the impact. It'll be about who survived and how they rebuilt the Earth, says director Rick Roman. An encouraging update on Marina Baccarin's return to Greenland Migration has been released, 2 years after the original announcement of the sequel. The story of the 2020 catastrophe thriller, starring Gerard Butler as John Garrity, follows his family as they flee across the nation in hopes of reaching an emergency shelter in the nation of the same name in the event that a comet impacts Earth Earth and causes an extinction-level event. Under the direction of longtime Butler collaborator Rick Roman-Waugh, the film was a surprising hit when it came out, making over $52 million globally in spite of the COVID-19 lockdown. It also received mostly favorable reviews from reviewers, which led to the ordering of a sequel the following year. Given that the catastrophe movie genre has mostly failed in recent years, Greenland's success can be attributed to its novel approach to the tale. Butler kept its focus firmly on its human characters at the center of its story instead of depending on several disaster sequences a la Roland Emmerich's filmography or attempting to construct some complicated strategy to save the planet from the comet a la Michael Bay's Armageddon. The movie looked at more than just the main family. It also examined how widespread fear can force people to adopt extreme actions in an attempt to survive. Even though it appears that production is almost underway, early talks about migration, which follows Butler and Beckeren's characters as they travel across a now frozen wasteland in Europe in search of a new home, give hope that the Greenland sequel may surpass its predecessor in scope and quality, though the way they approach it varies. From the more emotional The Last of Us to the action-packed twisted metal, the post-apocalyptic genre is still popular on both big and small screens. In a recent tease to Screen Rant, Waugh said that the sequel will take a more similar approach to the first, examining how survivors of the tragedy are still surviving in the post-extinction era. The choice to place its characters in the freezing wasteland in Europe leaves room for Greenland migration to include more elaborate set pieces, especially considering that early reports have the film's budget at $65 million to a full $30 million more than that of its predecessor. The success of the sequel will depend more on how it keeps its realistic human characters and their efforts to survive in a horrific new world in mind than it will on action scenes. Now that the recent strikes by the WGA and SAG-AFTRA have finished, let's hope that Greenland migration production gets underway soon and regains the original level of success. Variety can reveal that the much-anticipated Greenland sequel starring Gerard Butler will finally begin production in April. Butler will work with director Rick Roman-Waugh and Greenland writer Chris Sparling again on the catastrophe movie Greenland Migration. The sequel will also feature Marina Beckeren, who starred in Deadpool. Mitchell Laffertune and Sparling collaborated on the writing of Greenland Migration. In Greenland, Butler played structural engineer John Garrity, who tries to escape Atlanta with his wife Allison, played by Beckeren, and their diabetic son Nathan Roger, played by Dale Floyd, when a comet threatens to wipe out the Earth. Following the separation of John, Allison, and Nathan, the family faces challenges in coming together as cometary pieces shower down on Earth, raising the possibility of an extinction-level disaster. In the sequel, which takes place after the comet obliterates most of Earth, the Garrity family is forced to travel across what's left of Europe in a dangerous search of a new home. The original movie made over $50 million at the box office when it was released in 2020 during the epidemic. In spite of this, the sequel was quickly stranded in development hell when STX Entertainment, one of its co-producers, went up for sale. One of the largest Cannes transactions of 2021 was reportedly paid by STX $75 million for the domestic and international rights to Greenland 2. A year later, the film was placed under bankruptcy protection while it looked for a buyer. In the end, the Najafi companies purchased STX in 2022. According to reports at the time, Anton, one of the co-producers, filed for bankruptcy in an effort to keep STX from terminating its rights to the movie and moving forward with the sequel as a solo producer. Greenland Migration is produced Basil Iwanek and Erica Lee of Thunder Road Pictures in collaboration with Sebastian Raybot and John Joyce of Anton, Butler and Alan Siegel of G-Base, and Brendan Boyea of Sign Machine. Machine. For STX Entertainment, Robert Simons, Noah Fogelson, and Sam Brown executive produced. For Sign Machine, Roman Noir does the same. An additional EP is by Chris Sparling. Deadline revealed that the two major characters from the absurd and outrageously fun 2020 catastrophe film, Gerard Butler and Marina Baccarin, as John Garrity and Allison Garrity, respectively, would be returning for Greenland Migration when it was first announced in June 2021. Although there has been no word on whether Roger Dale Floyd, the young actor who played Butler and Baccarin's on-screen son Nathan Garrity, will return for Greenland 2, it's difficult to see family functioning without him given how significant a role he played in the first film. That's all for today. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. Also, express your valuable thoughts in the comment section below. Until then, bye. Also, spend some time watching other videos on the channel.